I'm Lorraine Ballard-Morrill. A recent study finds more than 30% of all nursing homes in this country have been cited for neglect, abuse, and even death. Joining us in the studio right now is attorney and longtime advocate for the rights of the elderly, Saul Gruber of the Gruber Law Firm in Mount Laurel, who says elder abuse is a growing epidemic. Saul, so nice to have you in the studio with us.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so let's talk about the specifics. We are becoming a graying generation population. The baby boomers are now, I think the oldest one is, or the youngest one is over 50, right?
That's what I hear.
So that huge population bump means that there's going to be a tremendous need for nursing homes and elder care. But I guess the question is, how do you find quality elder care? And then when it's not good and when there's abuse involved, how do you handle it? So for you, what are your recommendations on finding the best elder care?
I think that's where it really starts. And the real problem is the lack of planning. Because most often when you're looking for a nursing home or an assisted living facility, you're doing it with a very short window. Your mother, your father are in the hospital and they've given you 6 hours to find a particular facility. What you probably want to do is start getting some information before mom goes to the hospital. So once you have parents that are getting a little bit up in years, go to the webpage Medicare.gov. It's a phenomenal resource that our government has given to us, and that will give us the list of all nursing homes in a particular area. It will tell you how they compare to the other nursing homes, and more importantly, it will tell you if they've ever been cited for a deficiency and if they have ever had understaffing. You can start there and then at least have that list, which maybe is 30. You've now reduced it to 5.
Right. And I think that one of the challenges is having that conversation with your parents in advance. That's kind of the last conversation you want to have. And sometimes the parents don't really even want to talk about it either.
I don't think you can have that conversation with parents. I know that about 15 years ago, we attended, a partner of mine and myself attended a seminar for the elderly. And we wanted to talk to them about the nursing home issues that have arisen. And every senior avoided our booth like it was the plague. So I don't know that you start with talking to your parents. I think you do it on your own.
Right.
And a lot of times you can't worry necessarily about where your parents live when picking a nursing home. You have to worry about where you live if you're going to be doing the visiting and the caring for your mom or your dad. So if your parents live in Philadelphia and you live in New Jersey, you may want to look for a place close to you so you can be there on a regular basis.
So when you are actually in a situation where there is placement, and as you mentioned, oftentimes there's a very short turnaround, there's probably a lot of upset and emotional stress that's involved. All right, so your parent or parents are in this facility, and then what you need to do is you have to start to figure out, well, is the quality of care adequate and good? How do you determine that once they're there? What are some of the things that you need to look out for?
You want to be there. You want to be there as often as you can, and you want to pick different times to be there. One day you're there in the morning. Another day you're there in the afternoon. Another day you're there at night. You want to look, are the same aides or nurses caring for mom or dad, or is it someone different every day? You want to look around when you're walking to your mom or dad's room. Look at the other rooms. Is food being left there where the residents can't get to it? Is there a smell? Are there call bells, which you could see the bell right above the room in most nursing homes? Is that lit for a long period of time? And don't be afraid of talking to other residents and talking to other family members. The only way you ever get any real information is by going there and doing the work yourself.
I think that's very important. The other thing, too, is that we do know that the health department does inspections of nursing homes on a periodic basis. That information, how accessible is that, and where do people need to go to look for it?
It's accessible and not accessible. It's accessible in the sense that both in every state of the union, the nursing home must show the last inspection in the lobby. Now, they don't necessarily highlight it and put it in a frame, unless, of course, it was a great, and we call them surveys, unless it was a great survey, but it's there. But that's not really where you have to look. You have to start with that Medicare.gov site. In New York, they have their own Department of Health and Senior Services site. Same in Pennsylvania, same in New Jersey. They will give you at least the highlights of that survey. They will talk about quality care. They'll talk about staffing. They'll talk about different types of injuries that it seems that the residents have, whether it be dehydration, malnutrition, and the horrible pressure ulcers or bed sores. That's all there. If you can type, and I think seeing how everybody uses Facebook nowadays or whatever else they're using, Instagram, they can type. You can put those particular names into the Google and you will find it. There's another great page called membersofthefamily.net. It will tell you everything you want to know about any nursing home in the country.
Let's talk a bit about staffing. There's some obvious reasons why adequate staffing is important. Clearly, you need to have enough staff to care for the clients, the individuals that are there. But there's some things that you don't really think about. For instance, I was reading on your website that if you have poor staffing, that sometimes it impacts the amount of liquids that a client might get, because the staff might say, well, we don't want to clean that person. And there's some other things that I don't think that would normally occur to people to even think about.
I think what a lot of us forget, and when we think of nursing homes, we think of a lot of times hospitals. We think of a place where someone who has a sickness or illness goes to get help. But invariably, nursing homes, assisted living facilities, and certain rehab facilities aren't hospitals. They're homes. People go there not just to get better. They go there to live. So when you think about your everyday, what we do every day, you wake up. You take for granted that you throw the covers off. You wake up, maybe shake your head, walk your dog, able to brush your teeth, brush your hair, pick out clothes that you want to wear, have a cup of coffee, and go to your day. A lot of people in nursing homes don't have that ability. So the staffing is there to help them with what they call activities of daily living, things that you and I take for granted. And if there's not enough staff to do those simple things, that's where the problem really occurs. And those simple things are having water, being clean. How about if you're a man, you just want to shave, but you can't do it yourself? Those are the things that they rely on staffing. And the problem in the nursing home industry is the way they make money is by having people in the nursing home. No problem. The biggest expense is labor. So when you have for-profit corporations trying to figure out how they're going to make more money, they're either going to have more people than they can handle to bring the income up, or have less staff or less trained staff to care for people. And that's where we see virtually every problem that I see in my profession comes from that lack of appropriate staffing.
Saul, I wonder if you could maybe share with us a story about a situation that you encountered that you found, where there was elder abuse or just something that just was not right about a situation in a nursing home, and how you were able to handle that.
What we see a lot is that simple activities that residents are not being helped with lead to much more dramatic problems. If a resident doesn't want to eat, just because they don't like green beans, whatever reason, our children don't want to eat and we force them to eat. If you don't force them or come up with a care plan of how they're going to eat, their protein levels then begin to lower. When your protein in your body begins to lower, it affects your skin. They call it skin integrity, but it makes sense. It's what happens when we get older a lot too. So now your skin is becoming more difficult and it's becoming more prone to injury. You're getting older, you're not eating, and now you're not moving around in bed a lot. If you don't have the proper staff, and we see this all the time, to turn that person, you have someone who now has a bed sore or a pressure ulcer. Those words don't really tell us what they truly are. They're more often than not infected, smelly, pus-filling holes that are in people's bodies that you could put a watermelon in. And we see it 30 times a year. It comes from something as simple as not having enough staff to make sure they ate, not having enough staff to make sure that they had enough to drink, and not having enough staff to make sure they're turned. And where I think we run into a lot of issues is where the people who are there giving care are upset by this. They want to help the resident. But in a lot of situations, the owners, who are a little bit more impressed with the bottom line, aren't putting them in the position to help them. And that's where we as lawyers come in.
So you've mentioned a number of different resources, the Medicare.com.
It's actually .gov.
.gov. And what are some other resources people can take advantage of?
Well, I think one of the things you want to do is deal with Medicare.gov, deal with memberofthefamily.net, call the local ombudsman. Every single state has a Department of Health and Senior Services in some way, shape, or form, as well as an ombudsman. They are the people who investigate problems. But they're also the people that will talk to you about what they see that's good about nursing homes and what nursing homes they see are good. You absolutely have to take advantage of that. Once you think there's a problem with mom, with dad, there probably is. I mean, I find our guts are the best indicator of what's happening. And if you think there's a problem, you have to assume that there is. And at that point, you want to go and demand a meeting with the administrator, demand a meeting with the director of nursing. Don't ask for a meeting. You demand the meeting and find out what exactly is happening. And then, if you're not getting the answers, then you call an attorney who handles these type of cases. That's really important.
And what's your website?
Our website is nj-nursinghomeneglect.com. At NJ Elder Abuse is our Twitter. We're always available. We have 4 lawyers who do nothing but nursing home neglect and abuse throughout the whole tri-state area, and we're here to help.
And there's lots of good resources at that website, so check it out. I want to thank you so much for joining us and giving us a little bit more information and some tools that we can use for preventing elder abuse and neglect in these nursing homes. Thanks, Saul.
Thank you.
Saul Gruber, who is of the Saul Gruber law firm, talking about senior abuse and the quality of life for seniors in nursing homes and what you can do if it doesn't come up to snuff. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Lorraine Ballard Morrow.